Hey guys, this is your afternoon summary of the Iraqi dinar, what's going on. I had some hot news that I shared in detail on my live stream this morning. So if you missed it, I will put the link to it down below. But one of the biggest things coming out was the fact that they, and I went through this in one of my summaries, but I'm going to highlight it here because they sent my, I call it Secret Agent Man. I got a lot of different intel contacts now. There's nobody specifically I can name. It says Economy Ministerial Council supports the Central Bank of Iraq's, the CBI's independence formulating monetary policy for Iraq. Okay, this is big. Okay, so basically what it's saying is the Ministerial Council for the Economy decided on Monday to support the independence of the Central Bank of Iraq, the CBI, in formulating Iraq's monetary policy. Okay, that means all the stuff going on within the Senate and everything going on politically within Iraq, they're kind of handing the monetary policy over to the CBI. What do you think that means? I'm thinking that the CBI can decide when and if to change the rate and what to change the rate to, so that it's not is not affected politically. They're more independent, right? And the banks, I've always maintained that the banks are the ones ruling all this stuff, right? The banks rule the world. It came out of one of my margaritas. It came out in one of my miracle manifestation zooms that the banks rule the world. So, and the Deputy Prime Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Chairman of the Ministerial Council for the Economy, Fawad Hussein, chaired the 7th session of the Ministerial Council of the Economy, wherein the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Planning, the Ministers of Industry, Labor, and Social Affairs, and the Secretary General of the Council of Ministers, the CBI Governor, the Prime Minister's Advisors for Economic and Legal Affairs, and the Chairman of the Securities Commission attended the session. Big session, okay? The council discussed the items on its agenda and took the necessary decisions in this regard. The council hosted the president and vice president of the Financial Supervision Board and the director general of the legal department at the Bureau to study and evaluate partnership contracts between the public and private sectors and to demonstrate the economic feasibility of their continuation or termination. The head of the Bureau reviewed these contracts, which were divided between important that benefit the state budget and contracts that lacked economic feasibility. The council decided to complete the discussions in the presence of representatives of relevant ministries to resolve the important file, which I named all those people that were present. The council also decided to approve the recommendations of the committee formed to study the adoption of Iraqi and Gulf specifications or higher when importing vehicles to preserve the lives and safety of citizens and users of vehicles and roads. The statement included the council also discussed determining the contribution of foreign capital to Iraqi banks, and in line with the state's general policy in supporting the Iraqi and foreign banking sector as well as foreign investments in Iraq, the council decided to support the independence of the Central Bank of Iraq in formulating monetary policy by its applicable laws and instructions. Of course, they're not going to tell you exactly what they do. So, and it says the council hosted the technical undersecretary of the Ministry of Environment to discuss supporting the ministry's projects related to implementing the governmental program and removing obstacles that hinder its implementation, indicated in the statement. So what does that mean? The CBI is in control of what's going on with Iraq. It separates them. It's actually a good idea, in my opinion, because it's separating them from the politics of the situation while they figure out electing a new speaker. They figure out handling all the doomed factions, whether it was unconstitutional, all that stuff swirling around that makes everything muddy. I think it's clarified here that the CBI is in control. What do you think? Please comment down below. I think this was a very important article, and that's why they highlighted it to me. Plus, with my background and understanding as an auditor with Price Waterhouse, there was another article here that pointed out that the auditors are there, everybody's there to make this thing happen. Now, this was an older article that was back in September, the end of September of 23. And it says the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Al-Alik, affirmed the success of the monetary policy in reducing the inflation rate in the country. So they talked about the e-platform, the direct transfers, the truth, the U.S. Department of Treasury, penalties for banks, regulating trade with Iran. When it came to the U.S. Department of Treasury, it says during her visit to Iraq, the Assistant Secretary of the United States Treasury lauded the Central Bank of Iraq's actions to regulate external transfers, enforce compliance rules, combat money laundering and terrorist financing, and direct coordination between the central bank and the U.S. Treasury and the federal bank. he affirmed. So it looks like the central bank is working with the treasury. Now, a lot of our intel sources that we know and love, I'm going to go there next, obviously, and also Iraq continues to de-dollarize, which I always report on, because it's important that they're de-dollarizing, because that means they're preparing for a stronger dinar in country and on the forex than the U.S. dollar, right? And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention and give you some numbers in case you're curious. Basically, what are the numbers? The CBI auction, 280 million in forex today, 279 million yesterday, and they are also resuming reports in talks on resuming oil exports to Turkey. We all know Turkey hadn't been to visit Iraq in 14 years, and now they're doing business with Iraq, talking about exporting oil to Iraq. So Iraq has all those outstanding memorandums of understanding. My take on it, you don't do memorandums of understanding without an expiration date. So they're on a clock. They need to get this rate done, and they need to get it done soon. That's my understanding from a business person who was offered the CFO position 3 times before the age of 32. I always worked for global companies, right? So guys, this is very important what's going on here. So I hope you like my instincts about this and my bringing my diverse financial background, being an auditor with Price Waterhouse, working on huge contracts, also with this, and I provide a unique perspective, so please subscribe and tap the bell. Nobody sees it like I do to bring you to and through this. Also, I have a prophetic gift from God that is giving me strategies for God's kingdom to use to get through this safely without having other parties maybe putting your currency at risk by putting it in their hands, right? So here's Mark Z. After returning it for the purpose of auditing, the Iraqi Gazette addressed Parliament to send the budget tables today. So they are expected to release it to the papers this week. There are a lot of people who believe we will see a rate when they do that. I do have a couple contacts in Iraq that believe we will see it then. They expect it to be published in Saturday in the Gazette. We hope they're accurate. Exactly. There's still time to get your strategies in place before, if it's released on Saturday. Sampson article, parliamentary committee, the investment law will see the light soon. Again, those are things in committees in Parliament where I just gave you the article where I think the Central Bank of Iraq, the bankers are truly in control, just like they are all over the world, guys. The bankers are in control. If you want to know more about that, you can join me as a Miracle Manifestation member of my channel. I've laid it all out for you. How do you still get freedom even with the CBDCs and everything that's coming down on us? You can still stay free. You can strategize now and you can make more money, outside of that traditional system. Sampson says, the investment law will see light soon. Frank 26 says Parliament is saying we're going to pass the investment law. You're going to see it very soon. Again, I don't think this matters, but it does muddy the waters and muddies the time. When you think this is going to happen. So pay attention to that. It could happen at any time, any day, and God is truly in control. I love my God and King. I love Jesus Christ. So if you're a Christian, please subscribe, tap the bell where you can hear truth, facts, and optimism every morning with coffee and conversation. My next Margaritas and Manifestations, I believe we're supposed to be co-creators with Christ. We have a part to play in this by pulling this in to our time frame so that we can get all the resources needed to be safe during whatever chaotic time ensues this year. And it needs to be done soon. Mountain Goat, if you step outside of Iraq, when they finally do redenominate the dinar, the exchange of the 3-0 notes, we will exchange to do whatever the currency exchange is, i.e. forex rate is at the time. I'm going to clarify that for everybody. Militiaman, when you drop 3 zeros, it creates value. It's that simple. And when you add a real effective exchange rate, that value that's created is dropped from 3 zeros. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And of course, everybody's talking about the HCL, the hydrocarbon laws. That's for the people to get part of the oil revenues, just like they kind of used to do in Alaska when they actually pumped oil out of the ground in the U.S., which that cut off with the that administration that we have now. So, and then Frank 26, I got to say this. Article, Al-Sudani's interest in developing gas projects will provide job opportunities, give the economy added value. I've always said the moment you see the HCL, you'll see the new rate. What do you think? Do you think it's dependent on the CBI based on that article I just read? Or do you think it's dependent on the Parliament and the HCL being passed? What do you think? I would love to hear from you because this collective group, we're all headed in the same direction and I believe we should stay united. So here's my take on the exchange rate. 1 USD right now approximates this, right? It varies up and down by day, but it doesn't matter. And when you divide it to see what the Iraqi dinar is per dollar, you get 0.00076. Okay, so if you take 0.00076 and you assume they drop 3 zeros, which a lot of people like Frank and Militiaman and probably even Mark Z knows it's going to come off the exchange rate. They're not going to lock the currency. They can't. It just wouldn't make any sense, and they would probably lead to a revolt in country. But as far as we're concerned, if the IQD is 76 cents, if they lock 3 zeros off the exchange rate, and it's 76 cents per 1 USD, because this is in the USD, right? What that leads you to is if you have one $25,000 note, 76 cents, that's if they just drop the zeros, that's worth a value of 19,000 US dollars in this country. I don't know about in country. I don't focus on exchanging my currency there because I think that's insane, right? So if it's 76 cents and you have $1 million, that's 760,000. If it's 76 cents and it's 2 million, that's 1.5 million. So when do you think it's a good time to shift your mindset? That's what I talk about tomorrow night on Margaritas and Manifestations. How to shift your mindset now so that this thing can come in, because we're co-creators with Christ. Faith as a mustard seed moves the mountain. Please join us. Also, Militiaman just talked about the near rate, the near effective exchange rate. What if it comes out just at what it was before it was devalued, like around 322? Imagine what your currency's worth. If you have a $25,000, that's $80,000. What would that do for you? Why don't you focus on that you have something very valuable in your hands, and you shouldn't be sad about your financial circumstances, because this thing is going to happen. If you join me on Margaritas and Manifestations, I'll teach you how God has taught me through the years how to manifest things, how to get your prayers answered, how to pray the most powerful prayers so you actually see them happen in your life. And if it's 1 million, that's 3.2 million. If it's 2 million, that's 6.4 million. What would that do for you? That certainly would allow you to shift your mindset now, right? So join us tomorrow night. Please subscribe, tap the bell to hear more information like this, because it's incumbent upon us to bring this in. So guys, I love you all with the love of Jesus Christ. God has given me the 3 steps to a safe exchange. If you want to get that, it's just a different perspective for God's kingdom, and I think God always gives his kingdom different strategies than the world has. So if you want those, I'll put my information down below. You can send me an email and request that information. I love you all with the love of Jesus Christ. Please let me know that you appreciate this summary and you appreciate my perspective specifically. Amen. God bless. These are iconic times. I hope you're excited. Bye.